Hello, my name is Christopher J. Thompson, and welcome to another edition of Chris Speaks. Today I'm going to call out a troll, an internet troll he's a global warming climate denier who had to troll me, and we'll see how intelligent he trolled me, because obviously he came with me with a whole bunch of information that just blew my mind. Not. Anyways, I did my last one, if you saw it, was about global warming and about Trump pulling out of the Paris Accords. And so this guy, being intelligent, starts off by character assassination. Here it is, Psychio 123. You might want to actually learn to read before you open that ignorant mouth, which removes all doubt of your stupidity. Okay, so already you didn't bring any information, you're just doing character assassination, which, according to Aristotle, is one of the fallacies, which is a bad argument and bad philosophy. Instead of actually bringing evidence or anything, you just immediately start calling me names. Apparently, I'm reading your post right now, so obviously I know how to read. I have tons of books. Most of them are nonfiction. Some are spiritual, some are science, some are history, some are social sciences, some are on climate change. But all you can do is sit there and, you think you're so smart. You're so smart, really? Because when I was like 12, I read at a college level, so, I guess I'm stupid and don't know how to read. Okay, so let's go to his next one. And he quotes me here saying, lots of politicians and people who know nothing, I did it wrong. It should say people who know nothing about science. And he calls it includes me, even though I've done the research. Okay, and then he quotes me again, there is no debate in the scientific community itself. And he says, odd, what makes you think that? Because some educated actor named Bill Nye told you so. Well, first of all, I didn't get the global warming stuff from Bill Nye. 5 years ago, you would have told me I got all my information from, what's his name? Who was our old vice president? Al Gore. You would have said, I got it all from Al Gore. I started learning about global warming in 7th grade, which was like about 1989 or 90, or maybe it was in 8th grade, which should have been 90 or 91. So that's long before Bill Nye even had his show. His show didn't even start till like the mid-90s, till about the 90s, and at that point, you only saw it if you lived in Washington State, and then, it wasn't to the 2000s till he even got into syndication and was on the Disney Channel. But uneducated? He's an actor, actually. He knows a lot about science. He has a bachelor's in science, not a bachelor's of arts like most people get, because he was an engineer, a bachelor's of science in engineering, which means he had to take more math and more science. So I guess he knows nothing about that. So someone with a bachelor's in science is uneducated? Uneducated. And he's not an actor. He had a couple of shows. He actually is a scientist. Well, I know, looked on your page and looked on your playlist of all this stuff where they call him a fake scientist. Well, yeah, of course they're going to call him that, because people like you and people like the people that keep perpetuating this ignorance of climate change, all they can do is character assassination. All you guys can try to discredit people and call people names and this and that without going into the evidence and the actual data that's there. Okay, well, let's go further on this comment. So he quotes me again. It is the politicians that disagree. Is it odd to consider scientists that don't directly have invested interest in climate change nonsense funding disagree? Okay, all of these scientists, so of the 98%, that makes 99. So 2% of scientists disagree, so that makes it a debate. When the majority of science And let's look at those scientists. How much you want to bet they're all on the payrolls of big oil, big coal, big gas? They're all the people that are in, most of these people are all being paid money by the big coal and the big oil and all of that. And as a matter of fact, or they belong to think tanks that are also getting their funding from Exxon and from the Koch brothers. Okay, so, well, let's, maybe, okay, I saw that you had some video, he had some video on there of a few scientists that don't look like anyone I've ever heard of or known of, and I didn't get into reading it, so there's about 5 guys, so 5 guys as opposed to thousands and thousands of scientists. I guess the few are the ones we should trust, okay? Well, a lot of the guys who used to be on the side of climate change, and plus most of those scientists are not even, they're not experts in, whatchamacallit, climate. Of course, you could say some of the scientists that are on this side aren't of global warming, aren't all climate scientists, but the majority of climate scientists agree. There's maybe a few out there, like there's this one guy who claims that we need more carbon dioxide, and he gave no data to back it up. It's ridiculous, and maybe all these scientists he's probably referring to, back in the late 90s and the early 2000s, there was this supposed petition going against global warming, and had all these scientists. Well, all the ones that were legitimate, that actually signed the thing, had no expertise in either climate change or science in general. A lot of the people on there weren't science. Some of the people were dead before the thing was even a thing. Some people came out and said, my name's on it, but I never signed it. And it's been debunked and debunked and debunked, like as all these other points that these deniers make up. And all he can do, he doesn't bring me any data, he doesn't even say anything, he just makes these little comments. Okay, give me a list of the people that are against it, and I'll look them up, and I'll look up data on them and see if they're full of crap or not. Or are you not going to do that because you know they're full of crap, and you have nothing but your big conspiracy theories and all this ridiculous stuff that's anti-science. It is crazy. And here's where he really starts calling me names. Okay, a huge step backward in ending climate change. Well, brain-dead drug addict. Okay, so I have long hair, so I'm a drug addict? Screw you! I'm not a drug addict. I don't even drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes. Drug addict. Because I have long hair? Now you're gonna profile me? Why don't you say something intelligent? You're not making me look like an idiot. You're making yourself look like an idiot. And you're so brave that you can't even put a picture of yourself on your profile. And, well, hey, I know, instead of just having a channel that has a playlist of a bunch of horse crap, global warming denial stuff, why don't you do some research? Why don't you get a webcam? Why don't you get on here, and why don't you make one to counter this? And bring me facts. Don't bring me all this garbage that you're gonna, let's go back to, well, brain dead drug addict. Okay, what do you think is gonna end climate change? Taxing people because that is all the agreement does, is tax Americans and give the money to Europe. I've read stuff on it, and it doesn't say anything about taxing people, and it wouldn't tax the people, it'd be taxing corporations. What we need to do is we need to get to this point where we would require these companies, if they're going to burn the fossil fuels, which they're stupid, why don't they work on transitioning from the fossil fuels to renewable fuels? Because eventually they're going to run out of coal and they're going to run out of oil. And even if global warming was wrong, which it isn't because the science is unanimous about it, and a bunch of ragtag 2% of scientists, you're going to call that a debate? That's not a debate. That's not a debate at all. And doing all this name calling and try to discredit people, You just make yourself look like a fool. Psycho, 123, whatever your name is. I'm a drug addict, huh? Well, you can't even prove that taxing is what it does. No, it's an agreement to cut down greenhouse gas emissions, and specifically carbon dioxide, which is causing this. Okay, and you want to talk about experts? Oh, not experts, but these climate deniers? Well, let's look at someone who used to be a climate denier. One of the guys who was their biggest claim to having scientists that disagreed with was Richard Mueller. Richard Mueller, and even then he wasn't a climate person, but he was their big guy about climate when he wasn't trained in climate science. But he was a physicist. But he decided, being a scientist, that he should go over the data, and he said he took a year to analyze the data and go over it, and he said that it was true. He decided that the data was saying what they were saying, and he changed his stance on global warming, climate change, whatever you want to call it. Changed it. And remember, this goes back to saying when he was anti-global warming, he worked for a think tank that was getting their money from the Koch brothers, the biggest fossil fuel people out there, which goes to prove my point. But this guy, after he did the data, because he is a scientist, he changed his stance, which means he's not getting that Koch brothers money anymore, which means he figured science was more important than money, and he could no longer say that global warming was fake. And not only does it say it's fake, and it's part of it's man-made, which they kind of throw out there to try to soften it, which without saying most people. But Richard Mueller said this guy was an avid denier of global warming. He went over the data, he changed his mind, and now he's saying that, look, the data's correct, this is really happening. I'm going to no longer take money from these guys because this is what the science says, and it's unanimous. And I'm sorry, when 98% of the scientists agree, but we're supposed to go with 2-3% of scientists, that's crazy. How is that a debate? That's like that's like those debates of scientists versus theologians on evolution. Evolution is science. I'm sorry if you're going to go against. I hate these scientists debating these religious fanatics because it's ridiculous. It's just like why even debate global warming denial, because it's a religion, just like the other religions, because it's not based on facts, it's based on beliefs, based on ideas that don't have any backing. So Richard Mueller was a big time thing. And another guy I already mentioned, Bjorn Lomborg, he was never a scientist, but he was considered an intellectual. He's like, I don't know, from like Sweden or Switzerland or something. I forgot where he's from, but anyways, he's from one of the Nordic countries. But he was a big time denier, and he, again, looked at the data and changed his mind, and a lot of these guys are changing their minds. And I just hate, this is the essence of trolling, is instead of actually trying to bring something to the conversation and actually really, if you want to convince me of that, which you're not going to anyways, but if you wanted to convince me that, or convince people that are watching me that, calling me a bunch of names and saying that I can't read and I'm a drug addict, you don't know who I am. You're just mad because I don't agree with your stance on something, a stance that isn't based on factual evidence. It's based on people backed by oil companies. Majority of them are just weathermen. They're not even real scientists. There are less of scientists than Bill Nye, who is a scientist. He's not an actor. And before that, it would have been Al Gore, and I don't know who was it before then, because before then there weren't all these celebrity people coming up. But the whole thing is, it all has to in order for the denial stuff to be correct, all these scientists have to be conspiring against the American people and the government and all that just so they'll get a paycheck. Because we can't trust people to do their job that get a paycheck. Because, of course, I'd rather get surgery from a guy who's not getting paid to do surgery. That doesn't even make sense. Anyways, I'm tired of these trolls. If you're gonna troll me, don't troll me. Be a grown-up. Use your brain if you have one. And don't say I can't read and say that I'm a drug addict. You're a jerk. If you want to really have a conversation, you want to condense everything, don't start name-calling. Don't try to discredit my intelligence, because that's not intelligent. It's not intelligent. Anybody who's a philosopher can tell you that's they're empty gestures. They don't do anything. You assassinate my character, you try to call me dumb and discredit my intelligence because you can't come up with anything that will really discredit me, so you start name-calling people. Whatever, hopefully I need to stop doing this. I need to stop replying to every single troll that comes on my thing and starts talking crap, because I shouldn't give these people a voice. I shouldn't give them the attention that they want. But it just irritates me, and I want you guys to see the kind of people that are global warming deniers. They don't, now it's climate change, and they'll say, oh, you changed it because the planet wasn't warming. No, we changed it because you guys were too stupid to realize global warming didn't mean that it doesn't get cold in the winter or it doesn't get cold in Alaska. That's why they changed it, because the general population, and even more so the deniers, couldn't realize that global warming means an overall warming pattern. Oh, and another thing I'll bring up is that they always bring up that there was a pause in global warming. No, there isn't. The data's been reviewed, and there wasn't no pause. It was warming the whole time. I'm tired of trolls. Okay, if you got another opinion and you're a denier, come to me, and with facts, with being calm and not calling names, without trying to say that, I just listened to this guy or I just listened to that guy, just like people who don't agree on my politics claim that, I'm watching MSNBC and all this stuff that I don't even watch. It's always coming from people who are who read stuff like Breitbart and watch stuff like Fox News and listen to Rush Limbaugh. Anyways, I'm just tired of being trolled, so I'm gonna sit there and take what he's saying and reply to that. But okay, well, that's all I have to say this time. I guess I'll see you guys later. Hopefully these trolls leave me alone, and if they don't, I'll just start ignoring them. Shouldn't give them the attention they want, but just this one time, I just wanted to show you how childish these people are, that they can't come on, these trolls. That's why they call them trolls. They're just trying to get a emotional reaction. Well, I'll see you guys later.